I would like to start this speech with a little bit of my credentials because by now you should know that you shouldn't be listening to just anyone about COVID 19, especially not from a high schooler. But one thing that makes me credible enough to share this with you is the same desire to stop this outbreak. Not only that, but I do have the same symptoms of COVID 19 as much as you do. Don't worry, I still have my sense of taste, and no, it's not about a fever and coughing. It's about the same kind of anxiety and discouragement every single day that passes. To get this straight, I'm Mikaella Estrada from St. Anselm of Canterbury, the land of berries. So, if we're ranking healthcare expertise on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a random guy on Facebook ranting about wearing face masks is the same as smelling your own fart, and 10 being the World Health Organization, I'd say you could put me in between 6 or 7. So please keep that in mind as you listen to this. I'll start with a basic because honestly speaking, I think for almost 9 months of being in quarantine, we've gotten a little lost here. Not to mention about the spreading rumors, theories, social media noise that COVID 19 is maybe man-made and its purpose is to solely reduce the population. Makes sense, but it isn't really scientifically proven. What has been proven is that COVID 19 is a coronavirus, and coronaviruses are a specific subset of virus, and they have some unique characteristics as viruses. They use RNA instead of DNA as their genetic material, and they're covered in spikes on the surface of the virus, and they use those spikes to invade cells. Those spikes are the corona in coronavirus. COVID 19 is known as a novel coronavirus because until December last year, we've only heard of 6 coronaviruses. COVID 19 is the 7th. It's new to us, it just had its gene sequencing, it's just got its name, that's why it's novel. If you remember SARS, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, those were coronaviruses, and they're both called respiratory syndromes because that's what coronaviruses do. They go for your lungs. They don't make your nose severely bleed. They don't make you bleed from your eyeballs. They don't make you hemorrhage. They head for your lungs. COVID 19 is no different. It causes a range of respiratory symptoms that go from stuff like a dry cough or a fever all the way out to fatal viral pneumonia. And that range of symptoms is actually one of the reasons why it has been so hard to track this outbreak. Plenty of people got COVID 19, but their symptoms are so mild that they don't even realize COVID 19 is already in their system. In other words, COVID 19 is our future. It's not a supposition or a hearsay. It's actually a fact. This is not the last major outbreak that we're going to see. There will be more of it, more pandemics that we'd have to face sooner or later. What we have to do is to prevent its spread. According to the World Health Organization, there are actually 7 steps to prevent the spread of COVID 19. One way is to wash your hands frequently. Now, you may have heard of that quite often, even before the pandemic. It's because one part of our body that carries a lot of germs is our hands, and we tend to touch our eyes, nose, and mouth frequently without even realizing it. Hands are a great carrier of diseases, even COVID 19. Second on the list is to avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Connected to the first step, germs can proceed from your eyes, nose, and mouth to the respiratory system, which basically is a way to consume COVID 19 into your body. Next is to cover your cough with a bend of your elbow or tissue. This way, germs or any kind of virus won't easily proceed from you towards another host. Moreover, we should specifically avoid crowded places. This is when we unknowingly catch the virus because even someone who have the virus can roam freely as long as they don't have the symptoms yet. In addition to that, one should stay at home if you don't feel well, even with just a slight cough or fever. Sixth step is if you have fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, seek medical care early but make sure to call by phone first. Last is to always stay up to date and be aware of the latest information. About a century ago, Philippines faced numerous wars which caused a lot of death. What happened a century ago is no different from what has been happening right now. People are still dying, but in a much more invisible way. Bill Gates once said that if anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. It's funny how he said that 5 years ago, and here we are facing a pandemic. Our country has been investing a lot on military forces and nuclear deterrence, but has it ever invested this huge amount over the health of its own people? Sure, the Philippines became indebted due to expanding the healthcare system of the country, but this only goes to show that we weren't ready to begin with. What we as Filipino who are concerned for others need to know our limits. What the government wants us to do is to adjust ourselves with the new normal. But what we really have to do is to strive harder to bring back what was initially normal for us. Be vigilant. Wear your mask. Protecting yourself is protecting the people around you. And that would be all. Then again, I'm Mikaella Estrada from the land of berries, St. Anselm of Canterbury.